And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we are going to be counting sheep and trying not to sleep, because we all know that when you see sheep and you count them, you fall asleep. In this game we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to make our buddies fall asleep. We're talking about a little card game here called Sheepzzz from Hurricane Games. It's designed by Bruno Cathala, which is my favorite designer. It's a card game for 2 to 5 players, plays up to 20 minutes. Very simple card game with just a bit of strategy. Let's check it out, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, at the beginning of Sheepzzz, 3 cards are placed here. We have a direction card here showing clockwise. After these 3 cards are dealt out on the board, there's 3 piles. Everybody gets 5 cards, and then the person who's starting the round gets to choose whether we're going uphill, meaning going in increasing order from 1 to 19, going uphill, or they get to choose going downhill, which means going from 19 to 1, meaning in descending order. Let's say this person went in ascending order, 1 to 19. That's the direction that we're going. On your turn, you simply play one of your cards on one of those cards, and then you draw one. It's very simple. So for example, let's say this was my hand of 5 cards. I would be holding these secretly, but for the video, let's look. I have a 10, 15, 13, 16, and a wolf card. We'll look about that later. So I can take any one of these cards and play it on any of these cards as long as it's higher than the card I'm playing on, because we're going uphill. So I might play a 15 on the 11, and then I would pick up a card, and then it would be the next player's turn. Now, if you notice, these cards, many of them have these pillows on them. Pillows are points, and you do not want points in this game because the one with 75 pillows goes to sleep and loses the game. So again, when it's someone else's turn, they're going to be playing cards all over the place. Now, there's some special cards. There's these light purple and these dark purple cards, and they tend to be the highest and lowest cards in the game. What these cards do are very powerful. These cards here, when someone plays them, let's say someone had played the 18 on this pile, because 18 is higher than 15, and they get to, if they want, swap the direction that things are going from clockwise to counterclockwise. They don't have to, but if they want to, they can swap. And they pick another player and tell them which pile that they need to play on. So you could pick your buddy that you don't like so much and say, you have to play on this one, sir. And look, it's going up. 19 is the highest card, so there's a very little chance he's going to be able to play on this. When it's his turn, basically you tell him he has to play on this right now. If he cannot play on this, he has to pick this pile up and put it in front of him. At the end of the game, every one of these pillows is going to be a point. He's going to have to take these. So he would take these, put them in front of him. He would not be happy with you. And then he would probably play another card from his hand to start the round there. And that's sort of how that works. Their other cards is the dark purple ones, which allows you to, this is pretty much the same thing without changing direction. Allows you to pick a player and tell them which pile to put it on once you've played that card on there. Now, there's another card out here called the wolf. If someone plays a wolf card somewhere, they get to first flip the direction. So this card's used if you don't have any cards that are going in the direction you want. This goes from 1 to 19, you would flip it over, and now we're going downhill. So now you'd have to play lower than these. Now, the other thing that happens is this person has to take this card, or someone else takes them and shuffles them. Usually the wolf's played after there's definitely some more cards there. So there'd be a stack of cards, the wolf's in there, somebody else would shuffle, and you would pull a card out. If you pull out anything other than the wolf, that's great. You put that on top, and you are scot-free. However, if the card that you pulled from that was the wolf, ouch, the wolf eats everything here, and you have to take all these points. The wolf's 5 points by itself, and you have to take every card that's in there. So when you're playing the wolf, you want to put it on a pile that's high because you have less chance of getting a wolf, but at the same time, if you do pull the wolf, it's going to be a ton of points. So the wolf flips this, and it changes, you have the ability to possibly to pull the wolf, which is a bad thing. Here we were saying you could only go downhill, because we're going downhill. Another thing you could do is you could play always downhill or 10 higher than any card. So I have to play less than 16, less than 9, less than 8, or exactly 10 higher than any of these cards. So I could play a 19 on the 9 because it's 10 higher. Conversely, if we were going uphill, you have to play higher than an 8, higher than a 9, higher than a 16, or 10 lower than any of these cards, and you could play the 6 on the 16. It's just a way to sort of reset that pile to bring it back down or bring it to the other way to allow it to keep flowing a little bit sooner. And that's just the other option you have when you play the cards. And this continues to go all the way until one of two things happens. Well, first, the pile will run out eventually, and everybody will have all these cards in their hands, all these stacks. There'll be stacks in front of people. And then the game ends, or the round ends, once either everyone has played all their cards, or if somebody has to pick up a pile, like let's say we're going downhill and somebody had nothing lower than a 9, they would say, I can't play, and that would end the round. They'd have to pick up a pile. Anytime you can't play anything, you have to pick up a pile, and you can choose which one. So you got to be paying attention as to what cards are being laid down on what, which one, because you can't look through the pile before you say which one you want to take. So that's pretty much the game. Of course, also, if you were the one that takes the wolf, and when you shuffled it, you drew the wolf and you had to take the pile, that pile is removed for the whole game. So there's only 2 piles left there. And anytime you can't play, you have to take the pile and you start a new one. That's pretty much it. At the end of the round, once the round ends, you count up all of the pillows in your pile, you add them up, and you keep score. If anybody has 75 pillows, the game ends, and the one with the lowest pillows is the winner. And the game can take anywhere from 2 to 5 rounds, depending on how you play it. And it's a quick, easy card game, and that's how you play. All right, well, there's Sheepzzz. I gotta say, this is a much simpler game than you would typically see Bruno Cathala design. Does it make it a bad game? No, it's actually very obtainable to someone like my wife, who is not a gamer. She's a great litmus test to play games with because she doesn't really play games a lot, and this is one that she liked. So it's something that you could pull out with somebody who doesn't typically play board game or card games, and they'll probably like it. Because it's interesting, because A, it's easy to teach. Okay, you're either going up or down. You're playing a card, then you're drawing a card. And it has that take that mechanic, where you're putting the wolf down, you're shuffling it up, or you're playing one of those purple cards, and you're forcing someone to play on that pile and probably have to take it if it's a high or low number. So you're kind of like, you're boxing with each other. So it has that take that mechanic too. So there's not a ton of strategy. You just kind of hand management, trying to figure out when to play those wolf cards. There's a memory element there, where if you really want to get good at this game, you're kind of watching which ones with the higher pillows are being put on which piles. So if you can't play, you'll be able to take the one with the least amount. Then you have that press your luck mechanic. So when you play the wolf, do I play it on the pile that has only 2 or 3 cards, knowing it's going to be a very good chance of possibly pulling the wolf and pulling all those? Or do I put it on a pile that has tons of cards, knowing that it's like a 1 in 15 chance of pulling it, but if I do, man, that pretty much is going to lose me the game. So there's a bit of press your luck, bit of memory element, but even going to take that, a little bit of thinking of and hand management. That's pretty much it. It's simple, but yet it has just the glimmer enough strategy to keep a gamer involved, a gamer interested. So it is on the lighter side. I'd call it a light card game, 20 minutes. And it has just enough strategy to keep me interested. So I like it. Good job, Bruno. It's probably one of the simplest games I have of yours, but I do enjoy it. Sheepzzz.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.